Okay, I'm back. It's been actually over 30 minutes. It's been about 45 minutes. But now look at the difference. I covered it, I sat it on the radiator, and look how much it rose. I mean, that is unreal how much it rose. A lot of air in there though. So what I have to start doing now is I have to start beating it and mixing it again. But this time I can do it with my hands. My hands are washed and I can do it with my hands to mix it up a little bit better. I'm going to use a little bit more flour. And actually I washed this down really good because I'm going to have to roll it and spread it. I'm going to grease up some baking pan and put some flour on the baking pan so I can get it ready to put in the oven. Now I'm going to beat it up again. Now I'm going to shape it and let it rise. So then this way when it rises, it's actually going to rise in the shape of the loaf of bread. One trick that a lot of people don't tell you is when you after it rises this next time, you put the little cuts in the top of it, you let it rise. After it rises, before you put it in the oven, you beat up an egg really good. Beat up an egg really good and brush it all with the egg and it'll come out golden brown just like in the stores. So this right here, let me see, I'm going to get these baking pans ready right now. I got two of them because there's a lot more than what I made. But you know what though? When you make bread, it's easier to make or it's better to make you don't want to go through all this trouble to make one loaf of bread. So what you're gonna do is just go ahead and make about 3 loaves or 4 loaves. One loaf will actually be able to sit in the actually that's olive oil. I put on the baking pan, on a paper towel, and that's what I coat the baking pan with, and then I put flour on top of that. So this way it don't stick to the pan. And actually I brought 2 of them down. This is a deeper one. I didn't have another regular one. I put 2 of them down because it rose so good. I mean that rose really good sitting on top of the radiator. Okay, that's ready. Well, let me show you how I'm gonna do it. And the flour won't actually bake onto it, but it does make it a lot easier to get off. The pan, so you know it don't stick to the pan. You're like if you make a cake and you don't let it cool or you don't got nothing coated in the damn thing. It sucks to have the whole way. I made a bundt cake one time and the whole bundt cake just disintegrated. It wasn't even round or nothing like that because everything stuck to the damn the bundt cake. I actually went out to buy a whole other bag of flour, so I got some extra flour. Okay, that's ready right there. Now, I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on my hands because when I start to touch this, it's gonna instantly start to try to stick to my hands. And a little bit of flour on this. It's funny, every time I get to this part, you see I don't use my hands when I mix it the first time. All the air went out, it's so funny. But you know what? That's what gives you the nice air pockets in your bread. So hopefully I get another good rise out of it like that one. And if at this point you start to smell your bread, and you're thinking, man, why does my bread smell like beer? Well, what it is the yeast inside the bread is eating the sugar. So it's eating the sugar, and actually that's how alcohol is made. When the yeast eats the sugar, believe it or not, it's the farts that come out as the bubbles, and the excrement is what comes out as your alcohol. Now, if you just do it one time, that's actually your beer. Now if you take that off, get the yeast out of it, and put it through a still or something, that's actually alcohol, your spirits. But anyways, for bread, the yeast and the sugar is what made it rise that really good like that. See, now this is sticky, this is ideal, but I'm going to put more sugar because I want to beat it up a little bit more. I got that Lil Wayne song. Every time I get to this step, you see I don't use my hands the first time around, I just use a spoon. And this one, I try to mix it as best I can with my hands. Still is kind of warm. You feel the warmth on the inside. But in the same with the yeast, when the yeast is eating the sugar, yeast actually populates itself when it's eating the sugars. It actually populates itself and it keeps growing and growing and growing. But it does get a little warmth to it when it's doing that. A little more. See, it's getting really stuck to my hands. But this time around, this is the way you gotta watch, because if you put too much flour, you can mix it up really good, but it'll be a little bit floury on the back end. So I gotta get all this flour mixed in, then leave it alone. I shape it, and after I shape it, hopefully get another good rise like that. And that one rolls really good. There was a lot of air pockets in there, and if you bake it like that, that's what make all them little, makes it more fluffy, the bread. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put some flour on the table because I gotta roll it out now. Before I came down here, I washed the table off really good. Or actually, when I came down here before. Okay. I want to coat it because it's going to keep sticking to your hands. Or my hands. And you see I'm trying to roll it out some. I stick it a little bit. That's a good consistency. But I'm going to roll it out a little bit. Because I want to cut it in half. And then make it into like 2 different loaves of bread. Now it'll rise again. Kind of evenly. And then probably about right there. I was laughing because one time I wanted to do a loaf of like a French bread. And I made it into a braid. Actually, I had my daughter braid it for me. And when my daughter braided it for me, oh man, it came out so nice. Fluffy, golden brown. It came out really nice. But I was thinking at the end of it, I had one piece of nice, really braided bread. And I could have had 3 pieces of 3 loaves of bread instead of that 1 piece of nicely braided bread. Now this right here, I'm just gonna stretch out some. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover these up and put them on the radiator again. Because when you cover it up and put it on the radiator, it'll rise again. Trying to put a couple slices in them. Now I'm not a baker or nothing like that. If you watch my videos, I'm just a hobbyist at heart. And then so with that one is ready. That one's gonna rise again. And then I got one more pan. I'm gonna put them in both together. I'm gonna put them in both together in the oven. I'm gonna have 2 decent loaves of bread. Now it'll stay good in a Ziploc bag for probably about 5 days, 5 to 7 days in a Ziploc bag. I keep my house at 72 degrees in my house. But if you put it in the refrigerator, say 3 to 5 days in a Ziploc bag. But if you put it in the refrigerator in a Ziploc bag, it'll be about a week that it'll stay good. And some people say that you could freeze bread. I've never frozen bread before. Hell, it doesn't last when I make bread here. But some people say that you could freeze bread. Actually, I'm putting a twist in this one to see how it'll come out with the twist. I'm hoping it gets another good rise. So this right here, after it rises one more time, then you go ahead and get an egg, and you beat the egg really good and coat it with the egg. And that's not all that uniform there, but it's close enough for government standards. So let's see if we get another rise out of it. Put it back on the radiator again, and then in about another 30 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and check it out. All right, be right back. Bye.